back on Sportsline on this Tuesday evening. Mike Pettine Sr., Mike Pettine Jr. We're talking West and Tenant football. We're going to start off. We have the East-West game coming up after Sportsline this evening. And, again, your phone calls are welcome for the coaches. We're going to start off with Mike Pettine Sr. and the East game. Tell us a little bit about the game. And specifically, a lot of folks talking about a third-quarter drive that kind of sealed it for you folks.
Well, it was a great victory for our program. I was very proud of the young men this year. This was a year that most people that looked at what we had coming back would expect that we would be down. And to be honest, the coaches had some serious reservations about how far this team could go. But we pushed the players. They responded. They went out and played a super game. It was a year that if you won the championship, you can be really proud because so many teams were playing outstanding football. East, North Penn, Truman, Norristown, of course, was picked preseason #1 in the state. So to win this was very gratifying. And, of course, the big win over East, where everything was on the line, was very special. Our guys are ready for the game. I thought we were going to pass a little more, but as it worked out, West power football and ball control got the job done.
Well, ball control in the start of the third quarter. I mean, you controlled the whole third quarter.
Yeah, I was into the game so much when the reporters were mentioning the drive. I didn't know really what they were talking about. And then things started to piece together. When I looked at it on film from the coaching standpoint, it wasn't a thing of beauty. I mean, we fumbled a couple of times. We had a number of penalties. Some of the plays were getting barely, 2.5 yards. I thought we should have broken, but certainly the ball control and the fact that there was a lot of pressure, it's very difficult to go that length of time without making a mistake and allowing the other team to take over. So that was a real plus. And when we got that second one in, I remember looking up at the scoreboard. We're almost into the fourth quarter, and the way our defense was playing, with 2 scores up, I felt pretty good at that time.
So we'll see the drive. We'll also see the whole East-West game coming up after Sportsline. Mike Pettine Jr., first year at William Tenant. First off, congratulations on a head coaching position. Being a graduate of Tenant and reading and finding out you got the job, I was kind of pleased to see that you got an opportunity to coach. A little bit about your season. You're 3-7. Big win against Quakertown this past weekend, coming off a tough loss to Plymouth Whitemarsh.
Sure, we were concerned coming off playing on a Monday night and really expending a lot of energy. We put a lot of effort into the Plymouth Whitemarsh game. We felt it was a good opportunity for an upset, and we really laid it all out. So we were concerned coming in with a short work week to play Quakertown on a Friday. And if you recall, it rained most of the week, so we really only got one quality practice outside. Fortunately for us, it worked out that our practice field was absolutely a mess. It was really muddy. So it really prepared us for Friday nights. When we got up to Quakertown, their field was in a horrible condition. We were ankle deep in mud most of the night, and I think the fact that we practiced in it helped us. And I think we finally put together a game where we played well on offense, well on defense, well on special teams, and it paid off.
Coach, you talked about the teams in the league and especially in the National Conference, and so many teams were solid this year. Some surprises. Did you play Truman? They're talking #1 down in Lower Bucks in the Courier Times poll down there. That program has turned around. Jan Sajak doing a nice job.
Jan has done a very nice job, and I didn't know that much about him coming in. I knew better that Norristown and East had a bunch of letter winners coming back, so they were surprised to me. They really played super defense.
And the other teams around the area, mentioned Norristown and Rock, they all had solid seasons, but it always seems that in the end it's a West team that comes to the top. What makes the difference there? Experience?
Well, there are a lot of factors that go into a winning program. I'd start with our tradition. Our guys come in thinking, hey, we have a tough yardstick to be measured by. And, I think we really get dedicated players. If you stay with us for 3 years, you certainly know how to work and prepare. And, people mention hard work. That's important, but I think you have to work with a good plan. And hopefully, year in and year out, I think we've done a decent job adjusting to our personnel. We don't have a philosophy, hey, this is our offense, and you're going to play this particular style. So we try to evaluate personnel and constantly reevaluate each and every week to get our players, our best players on the field and get enough players playing multiple positions in case you have injuries, which helped us this year, the fact that we had some players know 3-4 positions and were able to step in when we got the injuries.
We have a phone call. Let's go to the phones. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Pat Duffy from Doylestown.
Hi, Pat. What's your question?
I was wondering if this is for Mike Pettine Sr. I was wondering whether he looked forward to playing at home rather than on the road. It seems we have better luck on the road sometimes.
Pat,
Good question.
Pat must know our record pretty well at War Memorial Field. I told our players, a little history that we haven't done too well in playoffs in War Memorial Field. If you check our away record, it's pretty good. I think that when a team gets on the bus and they go away, and I use the expression to our players, you're going to the lion's den, you're well prepared. You're on your toes. Sometimes I think you play at home, you get a false sense of security. There's that feeling, well, we have them in our backyard, and this is an advantage. And, I told our kids, good football teams play well, home or away. And I think we're hoping to, stop that trend of losing. We had the 2 games with Coatesville. Of course, they won at our place, and we won down there. Mm-hmm. And then last year we lost to Downingtown on our field.
All right, good question, Pat. Thanks for the call. Your calls are welcome as we talk with Mike Pettine Sr. and Mike Pettine Jr. And Mike Jr., in your conference, you saw a Plymouth White Marsh team that you really held your own against. Because maybe down the line your dad's team will be playing them. But what are they like?
They run the Delaware wing tee offense. They have an excellent backfield that's comprised mostly of juniors. Very solid fullback. Then they have 3 other backs that are basically interchangeable. They're all about the same size. They all run real hard, break a lot of tackles. And I think their quarterback is their strong point. I'm sure will be the all-league quarterback in our division. He's a senior, real heady kid, throws the ball real accurate, doesn't make any mistakes. Then defensively, they've always, I think, built their team around their defense, and this year's no difference. Very, very solid up front.
Your dad talked about the West tradition, and you were a part of that tradition when you went to school there. What are you doing down at Tenant to try to get a Tenant tradition going under the name of Mike Pettine?
Well, I think one of the biggest things we're stressing to the kids is little things, attention to detail. Do the little things right. Football is a game that's won and lost over a million little things, whether it's lifting weights or how you stretch or how you line up your first step on a certain technique. It's all little things, and that's as a staff, that's what we're really focusing on to get those kids started down there. We've had some comments already, some people who have said you're copying your dad's program, or you guys are just CB West South. I welcome those comments.
It's not a bad comment.
Because to me it's a compliment. I mean, I'd be a fool if I went to start a high school program and didn't model it after where I've been, because right here in Doylestown there's a blueprint for an extremely successful high school program, and like I said, I'd be a fool if I didn't follow that.
Absolutely. I mean, I consider that a compliment too if you're CB West South. Another phone call. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is John from Chalfont.
Hi, John. What's your question?
I had a question for Mike Pettine Jr. and Mike Pettine Sr.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to congratulate both of them on their success this year. And I want to ask Mike Pettine Jr., with the success he's had, what kind of future do you have there next year? They have a lot of young players?
Yeah, we have a pretty solid mix this year. We have a good senior class to kind of set a foundation for this season. But then we also have a real solid junior class, and we also have 5 or 6 sophomores who are probably going to letter this year, and then also numerous other sophomores they're real into the program. They're already looking forward to the off season where they can lift. So I think the future's bright down in Warminster.
Okay, and you wanted to you had a question for Coach Pettine, Sr.?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Coach Pettine. I have a 5-year-old son that goes to the games with me, and he wanted to know if Coach Pettine was going to be coaching him when he got up to CB West.
Well, I think I'm going to be watching from the stands here. Now, I enjoy it. I'm taking it year by year. It's something that has kept me young, and I really enjoy the relationships with the players. So I just have to answer that by saying I'm taking a year at a time. But if your son is 5, at that point I'm going to be out to pasture.
Kind of like the Walter Alston of football here. Another phone call. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
This is Pat Loftus from Doylestown.
Pat.
Yes.
What's your question?
I'd like to ask Mike Pettine Sr. How big of a role do you think the fans are going to play in Friday night's game?
How big a role? You mentioned about playing at home.
You know, I was very pleased to hear that our fans did a great job of enthusiasm. Oftentimes, you know, the coach is so into the game, he's not aware of the noise and the various things that, you know, the crowd's doing to get excited and get the team going. But I got a lot of favorable comments about the CBWS fans. You know, I always talk about things that give you the winning edge. And I think it's very important that the players go out there and kids are commenting in the school, wishing them luck, and they're behind them, and then they see the kids, you know, getting painted up for the games and a cheering section. It could be a winning edge. I mean, you still have to go out and play good, hard football, but when you know a lot of people behind you, it could make the difference.
Okay, another phone call. Thanks for the call, Pat. Another phone call. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Hi, how you doing, coaches?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good.
I've seen a number of Tenant games this year, and I've seen a number of West games this year, and it's striking a similarity on offense on some of the plays that I've been seeing. This is for Coach Senior. Basically, I would think that some of the plays that I saw, I wouldn't see up at CB West with the shotgun and the no backs offense. Do you consider the Tenant offense somewhat grab bag at times?
Well, I think that's a loaded question there. No two coaches see eye to eye. He's an ex-quarterback. You have to remember, ex-quarterbacks, they always want to throw the football. I think he's doing a good job because he doesn't have the big, strong kids. He can't line up and, you know, play power football. You know, our philosophy has been don't get complicated or fancy if you can just go at them with straight football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're dealing with high-risk plays when you go shotgun, a lot of fancy stuff that some teams have to use. But when you're outmanned, you sometimes have to go that way, and that's a smart way to go. But I saw the end of his Quakertown game, and you know, I was impressed. And somebody did remark that he didn't get that offense from Doylestown. So, but it's nice for the fans to open things up, and I know a lot of our fans would like to see more interesting football. But you know, if the final score indicates that we won, that's the main objective we have. But we can throw the football on occasion. I think it was the Truman game. We realized they're going to gang up on us, and we better throw about 20 times. And Travis Bloomgren is one of the leaders. And I think it's the old philosophy that holds true. You know, you take what the other team's giving you. And so long as we can run our power offense, that's the way we're going to go. And if you force us to throw, we feel we have the capability.
All right. Looking forward to that shotgun on Thanksgiving, Mike. It'd be interesting. Another phone call. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Pat from Williamsport.
Dr. Pat from Williamsport, I believe.
Pat.
Dr. Pat, what's your question?
Hello, Coach, and hello, Mike Jr.
Hello, Pat.
Pat, how you doing?
Coach Pettine, congratulations to you and your team for a great win against Saturday night against Central Bucks East.
Well, thank you. I know I pointed out to our guys before the game, alumni are out there like yourself, and that's part of the tradition, and they were playing for a lot of people who live and die CBWS football.
Well, that's the truth, and we even up in Williamsport, we bleed black and gold. But, Coach, as many people are aware, the great quarterback tradition at Central Bucks West, in fact, one of the greats from the past is sitting next to you. And some of us have been talking in the last 5 or 6, perhaps 11 weeks, and have wondered what has become of the Central Bucks West passing game. and we'll have to come out of wraps this weekend against Coatesville.
Well, you know, we're facing a couple of 300-pounders. We're facing an 8-man front. And I think you just might see a pass or two.
Well, I know, as you say, you do whatever it takes to win. So
you might even see double digits there.
Yeah, that would be nice. All right, well, good luck this weekend, and it's nice talking to both of you.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you for the call, Pat. And we'll be back on Sportsline with coaches Mike Pettine and Mike Pettine in just a moment.
Choosing the right college is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make, and the right choice may be closer than you think. Delaware Valley College offers Bachelor of Science degrees in Agriculture, Business Administration, Computers, and Science. Delaware Valley College features small class sizes and hands-on learning opportunities. Get involved in a multitude of activities or just have fun with new friends on the college's picturesque campus. Delaware Valley College, celebrating 100 years in 1996. For more information, call 215-345-1500.
Time Life Music brings you Sounds of the 80s, the hottest collection of 80s hits ever. Get the hottest songs of the 80s. More than 1 full hour of hits for just $14.99 on cassette, $16.99 on compact disc. Then audition other great Sounds of the 80s albums. There's no minimum to buy, cancel anytime. Sounds of the 80s. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-956-5599 or send $14.99 for 1 cassette or $16.99 for 1 CD plus $3.50 shipping to the address on your screen.
Since 1958, Eagles Peak Spring Water has been the answer for homes and businesses alike. Serving all of Bucks and eastern Montgomery counties, delivery is always free. Eagles Peak offers pure bottled drinking water as well as distilled, plus a convenient office coffee service. Cooler rentals and sales are available, along with a wide selection of attractive ceramic dispensers. For new customers only, mention this ad and receive 2 free bottles of water with a cooler rental. Remember, when you reach for the peak, you reach for the best.
On Sportsline on this Tuesday evening, we're talking Central Bucks West and William Tenant football with Mike Pettine Sr. and Mike Pettine Jr. And your phone calls are welcome. Mike Pettine Jr. With the Tenant program, you're not in the building. How difficult is that? And tell us a little bit about the coaching staff that you have working with you this year.
It's not too difficult not being in the building because, as I mentioned to you off camera, that I do have one coach who is in the building, a fellow by the name of Rob Houston. Works with our younger players and our outside linebackers. Then I have a pretty good line coach, a fellow by the name of Dick Beck, who I'm sure a lot of people recognize the name. Played at West, played at Temple, coached at West for several years. He's done a great job. John Goldsworthy is also the track coach at Tenant. He's our secondary coach. Works with the running backs. Bob Rosenberger is a former Tenant standout. Went down and played a little football at South Carolina. Now he's back up in the area. He's coaching, and it's real good having Bob on the staff because he's and also John, both former Tenant players who played college football. It's a good role model for those kids to see. Hey, you can go through this program and things will work out for you. And then also a fellow by the name of Carmen Cuzolo works with our young guys and also assists Dick with the offensive line. He does a fine job for us.
Your dad mentioned that it's a key of getting players to stick with the program. Is that one of your goals, to have those, freshman teams come in, or freshman students come in, play on the freshman team, and then continue with the program? You have to do that?
Oh, definitely. Numbers, I'm sure most coaches will admit, are a big part of having a successful program. In today's day and age where kids are stronger and faster, and you have a tendency to maybe get some kids hurt, depth is critical. And also having numbers, your scout team has to be good. So the practice squad that gives your, say your first offense, it runs the other team's defenses during the week, or vice versa, runs the other team's offensive plays. You need to have quality kids doing that in order to give your team a realistic look for what they're going to see on Friday night. And I think that's been part of our problem. And one of the big differences I've noticed between being at West and being at Tenant is there's such a big drop off between our first and then down because we're so raw. Mm-hmm. but that's a problem. Hopefully, with a little bit of successful change, we'll get some more kids out for the program. It'll be a real positive experience for everybody, and that'll get our numbers up.
Okay, another phone call. Good evening. You're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Steve Ronsberg from Doylestown.
Steve, good evening.
My question, I have a question for each coach. The first one to Coach Pettine Sr. Just wanted to know, a former or a wrestler that you have right now on your team, Dave Armstrong, had a big hit on one of your punt returns. Just wanted to know what you thought of that punt, that hit that he made on the punt.
Well, it was a tremendous hit. You know, we give stars for big hits, and I was tempted to give him more than one, but you know, that was a great play, and that enabled Dennis Cliggett to make an outstanding run. And we also had our quarterback on that very play, Travis Bloomgren, make one heck of a block. And you know, that's the teamwork that you hope you have. I told our players, with an exciting return man like Cliggett back there, they better make some blocks. That hasn't been a strong suit of ours, but we were very pleased to get that big gainer, which I think set up another score.
All right, and a question for Mike Jr.?
Yeah, Coach Pettine Jr., I know that your dad's obviously one of your role models. Just wanted to know if you had any other role models for your coaching career.
Yeah, I do. I've been fortunate. I played college football at Virginia, where I played under George Welsh, who's obviously had some tremendous success there in turning a program around. I look up to him quite a bit and look back on how well he organized that program. And also, I was out at the University of Pittsburgh for 2 years in a rebuilding phase under Johnny Majors, and learned a lot from him. But locally, you know, other than I think my coaching roots are really more deeply here. Obviously, I'm very biased because he's my father, but I have a great source of inspiration and knowledge from him in coaching. Then also from the West program, a fellow that everybody knows around town is Mike Carey. I look up to Mike a great deal, just as far as the way he approaches the game, his intensity, and his love for the game of football.
Okay, thanks for the call, Steve. As I said, it's like old home week here. These folks calling in. Let's get to the phones again. Good evening, you're on Sportsline. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name's George. I'm calling from New Britain. This is for Pettine Jr. Mike, as young athletes, their parents are usually good role models to high school athletes. How much was your father there? I know as a quarterback, you had to go through a lot of pressure, not only having your dad as a coach, but also living in the household. I'm sure your mother was a big referee to stop some of those fights, I would imagine. How much of a role model was your father back then?
Well, at that point when I was playing for him, I don't know if I'd use the term role model. No, but it was tough, but it was a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it. There were obviously a lot of disadvantages to having your father as a coach, but what a lot of people don't realize is that the advantages. I was surrounded most of the day by a person who knew a tremendous amount of football. And was successful, you know, on and off the field, and I think that couldn't help but rub off. And so it wasn't. In looking back on, I probably resented it a little bit while I was going through it because he was tougher on me than he was on some of the other players. But looking back on it, like I said, I wouldn't trade that experience.
I remember those days. They were interesting days being in this town. Quickly, as we wind it up, both of you, will we ever see the day when we have a West and Tenant game, and I'm not talking scrimmage, you know, regular season game, or is the way the schedule made up, it's probably impossible? Mike Jr., would you like to see it?
Well, I know they, I'd love to see it. I think it would be great for the community. I think the only person who wouldn't want to see that's probably my mom. It would put her in kind of a tough situation. But I don't know how it would come about. I know they reevaluate the league every couple of years. I know Tenant used to be in the Power 10. Now we're in the other division, and Truman had moved up. So I think other than, unless we make the playoffs, which right now we're just worried about playing fundamental football and taking one step at a time, that's really not a big thought for us. I really don't see that, unfortunately, on the horizon.
Would you like to see it, Coach, or will you be sitting in the stands when West plays?
I would not like to see it. I beat him up enough when he was young.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Quick half hour. Thanks for your phone calls this evening. We will have to maybe do this more than one time next year because we get a lot of nice reaction. Good luck against Coatesville in the playoffs this weekend.
Thank you, Dan.
Michael, good luck as you wrap up the season, and we'll see. Looking forward to Thanksgiving Day and the Wood game.
Thanks, Dan.
Mike Pettine Sr., Mike Pettine Jr., my guest on Sportsline. Now, next week, the Carey brothers. Sounds like Jesse James and his gang, but it's Dan and Mike will be on. We'll talk about the West Coatesville game, and then a special edition of Sportsline on Thursday night. We'll talk Delaware Valley College football with head coach Bill Manlove and look at the fall sports season at Delaware Valley College. Enjoy the game coming up, Central Bucks East and Central Bucks West, and have a good evening, everyone.